guys, welcome to Dee's World. Today I'm going to do more of a serious video. Today I'm just going to basically talk about my transplant and the timeline of it. So I was born with hypoplastic left. That's basically when the left lung isn't fully developed, which leads you to lung issues and heart complications. So I had a couple of operations when I was an infant. My mom told me I had the Norwood done, but I don't know what else I had done when I was a baby. I don't even know what the Norwood is. But I'm sorry, y'all. Somebody outside screaming. The ones I do remember is the Fontaine. And how that came about was I was in class and I had chest pain. And I went to the nurse. They sent me to the hospital. I was there for the night. They did observation and then they told me that I needed a surgery. So I had it on January 28th, 2015, if I'm not mistaken. And then that surgery failed in like a year and a half. Man, I knew it failed when I kept like retaining fluids out of nowhere. We just didn't know what it was. I was retaining fluids and I just was still feeling the same way I was before the Fontaine getting done. So we finally found out what it was. It was protein losing anthropathy, also known as PLE. And we went through that for like a good half of a year before they told us that I was in heart failure. My original doctor since birth, he told us that he was just going to transfer us to the advanced heart team. So we didn't think nothing of it. Okay, I'm getting older. Maybe I do need to see another specialist for this thing. We later found out that I was in heart failure and that the advanced heart team really mean transplant. So we sat down with one of the doctors and she basically was telling us the pros and cons of a heart transplant and what to expect with a heart transplant. At that time, we didn't have our minds made up. So some time go by, like a lot of time go by. I was in the hospital one time because my PLE had started up again. And that was the last time before we signed the papers for my transplant. And I was in there for like about a good 2 months and a half. The worst months of my life because I was bored and I was always hooked up to something. I had a pick in my arm. That's the scar from it. So the 2.5 months was basically me being on heparin, and I forgot the name of the other medicine. Them basically coming in every morning to draw my labs and just being pains in the butts for the 2 months of my life. Then May 29th, 2017, around 10 p.m. I got a phone call from my doctor. And he was like, guess what? I said, what? He said, I got a heart for you. I didn't believe him for a second. And then all the nurses came running in there because they all knew me. And they was all cool with me or whatever the case was. And I was like, for real? And I felt overwhelmed. And I couldn't really react because there was so many people asking me, how do you feel? How do you feel? Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. Oh my God, I prayed for this. So I'm not complaining, but I just felt overwhelmed. And I couldn't react. And it really didn't kick in. Like, it really didn't hit me till the next day. When he called, they moved me to the CICU, the cardiac intensive care unit, for the night so they can just prep me for the surgery the next day. So all I had to do was just go to sleep. All I know is I fell asleep because they took me downstairs. They wasn't ready. And it was this child that kept screaming and hollering. And they was like, do you want to go back upstairs? I said, yeah. And they just took some time before we finally went downstairs. I fell asleep and I woke up to being in the room after my surgery. And I know I had a tube in my mouth. I couldn't move because I had so much stuff on me. And I just know that from like some days later, I remember being woken up out of my sleep to get up out of bed and walk. It was the worst days of my life because I was so weak and I just was hurting so much. They popped my sternum to get to my, heart. I'm happy that I chose the heart transplant because if I didn't, I wouldn't still be here. And there would have never been a Dee's World. I actually created this channel last summer right after my transplant, but because of the transplant, it was hard for me to breathe too because my lung wasn't being expanded because I was laying in bed a lot, so my breathing got really bad. So I didn't want to really record, and I just was like, I'm gonna just make the channel. And then later, once I stopped breathing as hard, I'm still breathing hard, but not as hard as I was before, I'm gonna put up some content. But at first they were considering lung and heart, but it would have took longer and they didn't feel that my lung was that bad, so they decided to not do it. But at night I sleep on the BiPAP, which help expand your lungs while you sleep because I have sleep apnea. I guess that's the end of this video. A lot of sadness. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in next video.